This happened last summer, during one of the busiest months of my life. I repair refrigeration systems for grocery stores, which means I'm often sent to small towns with almost no notice. That week, an old supermarket a few hours away had a freezer failure, so I packed a bag and left that same afternoon. The town was quiet, almost empty after dark, and somehow older than it should have felt. Most businesses closed by 8 p.m. Half the buildings on the main road looked abandoned. My company booked me a motel on the edge of town, one of those old single-floor places where every room faced the parking lot. There were 12 rooms total, only 4 cars outside. When I stepped into the office, the air smelled stale, like damp carpet and cleaning chemicals. The woman behind the desk looked to be in her 60s. She seemed polite, but distracted. She kept glancing past me toward the parking lot. Then she handed me the key to room 11 and paused. "If anyone knocks tonight, don't open the door." I laughed, thinking she was joking. She didn't smile. I asked if the area was dangerous. She said, "Sometimes people wander through looking for money." Then she leaned closer and quietly added, "Call the office if anything feels wrong." I grabbed dinner from a gas station nearby and came back around 8:30. As I stepped out of my truck, I noticed someone standing near the far end of the parking lot, too far away to make out clearly, just standing there, facing in my direction. I looked down for a second to grab my food. When I looked back, he was gone. I assumed he had walked behind one of the rooms. I ate, showered, and got into bed around 10:45 p.m. At 11:12, I heard footsteps outside. Slow footsteps, not walking past, stopping right outside my door. I waited for a knock. Nothing. Then the footsteps moved away. A minute later, they returned, slower this time, and stopped outside my door again. I walked quietly to the peephole. No one there. I was still looking through it when someone knocked 3 times. I stumbled backward in shock. My heart started pounding. I looked again. Still no one there. Then suddenly, the peephole went black. Something was covering it from the outside. Someone knew I was standing there. I stepped away and locked the deadbolt again, even though it was already locked. I called the front desk. No answer. I called again. Still nothing. Then I heard a scrape near the window, like fingernails dragging across glass. Then 3 slow taps. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. The woman from the front desk whispered, "Do not look outside." Then she hung up. A second later, the handle started turning, harder, faster. Someone was trying to force it open. I shoved the dresser against the door and yelled that I was calling the police. Everything stopped immediately. 5 minutes later, police arrived. 2 officers searched the lot with flashlights. No one was there. Then another man walked over from the office, heavy-set, mid-50s. He introduced himself as the owner. He looked annoyed more than concerned. He said kids sometimes messed around near the motel. One officer checked the window. Fresh fingerprints were on the glass. The owner stopped talking after that. Then they asked if anyone from the motel had contacted me. I said yes. The woman at the desk had called and warned me. The officers looked at each other. One asked, "The woman in the office?" I said yes. He stared at me for a second, then said, "That's impossible. She left at 8 p.m. No one has been in that office for hours." I felt sick instantly. I decided I was leaving before sunrise, job or not. At first light, I loaded my truck. When I opened the driver's door, I froze. The passenger seat had been pushed all the way back. No one had touched it when I arrived. Then I looked at the windshield. Written in the dust were 3 words. "You look tired," from the inside. I drove home in silence. Later that day, while unpacking my bag, I found a folded slip of paper inside one of the side pockets. It was a receipt from the motel. On the back, 3 words had been written in pen. "Come back soon." To this day, I still don't know what really happened there. I've replayed that night in my head countless times, trying to explain every sound, every movement, every warning. But nothing has ever made sense. Maybe someone was playing a cruel joke. Maybe I was more exhausted than I realized. Or maybe I was never alone that night. This happened in late October when I was 24 and living alone in a small apartment just outside the city. A friend convinced me to download a dating app after a bad breakup. I wasn't taking it seriously, just swiping when I was bored. Then I matched with a guy named Ryan. He was funny, polite, and replied almost instantly every time. For the first week, he seemed completely normal. Then he started asking strange questions. "What street do you live on? Do you sleep with your bedroom window open? Do you usually come home alone?" I laughed it off and changed the subject, but he always brought it back. One night, he sent a message. "I feel like I know you better than anyone already." We had never even met. That's when I stopped replying as often. He noticed immediately. Within minutes, I got 5 messages. "Did I do something wrong? Are you with someone? Why are you ignoring me?" Then one more. "Look outside." My stomach dropped. I lived on the 2nd floor, and my living room window faced the parking lot. I walked slowly to the curtain and moved it just an inch. A man was standing under the only streetlight, looking directly at my window. My phone buzzed again. "You look prettier in person." I called the police. By the time they arrived, he was gone. They told me to block him and stay somewhere else for the night. So I went to my friend's apartment across town. She tried to calm me down, saying it was probably just some creep trying to scare me. We sat talking in the kitchen for nearly an hour. Eventually, she went to bed in the other room. I tried to sleep on the couch, but every sound outside made me sit back up. At 2:14 a.m., I got another message. "Wrong apartment. You're not there." I stared at the screen for 10 full seconds before I could move. Then I ran and woke my friend immediately. We called the police again. They sent officers to my friend's apartment first to speak with us, then another unit to check my place. After a few minutes, the officers at my apartment radioed back. So they drove us there immediately. One officer asked for the man's profile picture. I showed him Ryan's account. He recognized the photo instantly. He stepped outside with another officer and made a phone call. When he came back, he asked me one question. "Did he ever ask about your routine?" I said yes. "What time I leave for work? When I come home? If I lived alone?" He told me the man in the photo wasn't named Ryan. His real name was Daniel Mercer, and he had recently been released from prison for attempted murder. The officer added that he had a history of targeting women who lived alone. My hands started shaking so badly, I dropped my phone. Every hallway light was on. My front door was slightly open. I knew I'd locked it. One officer pushed the door open slowly, his flashlight raised. At first, the apartment looked untouched. Then we saw the bedroom. My mattress had been sliced open. My closet doors were ripped off the hinges. And on the wall above my bed, written in black marker, were 6 words. "You were supposed to be home." I couldn't breathe. One officer walked into the bathroom and shouted for backup. The shower curtain was closed. Behind it was a kitchen knife from my own drawer, placed upright against the wall, like someone had been waiting there. Later, an officer told me they believed he had already entered my apartment before sending that message. He was inside when he wrote, "Wrong apartment. You're not there." And when he realized I wasn't home, he stayed, waiting for me to come back. Before leaving, one officer told me something I still think about. If you had come home alone that night, this would have ended very differently. I never went back to that apartment again. For months, every time I walked home after dark, I felt like someone was behind me. Because before I blocked him, he once sent me a message I didn't understand until later. "You'll only notice me when I want you to." A week after moving, I found a photo slipped under my new apartment door. It was me, sleeping on my friend's couch, the night he never found me. That's why I'm telling this story now, because if anything ever happens to me, you'll know exactly who I was afraid of. This happened last October when I decided to spend a weekend camping alone in the mountains. Work had been destroying me for months. Long hours, constant stress, barely any sleep. More than anything, I just wanted silence. The drive took almost 5 hours. About halfway there, I stopped at a small roadside diner, the kind of place with faded signs and old men drinking coffee at noon. I was easily the youngest person there. I ordered food and sat at the counter. An older man sitting 2 seats away kept glancing at me. Eventually, he asked where I was headed. I told him I was camping in the mountains. He stopped stirring his coffee. Then he said quietly, "Whatever you hear tonight, stay in the tent." I asked what he meant. He looked at me for a second, then said it was safer because of the animals out there. But the way he said it didn't sound like he meant animals. He left cash on the counter and walked out. I sat there for a while after that, feeling strangely unsettled. By late afternoon, I reached a dirt pull-off near the trailhead. There were no other cars. I grabbed my pack and started hiking. The trail was narrow, quiet, and surrounded by thick trees on both sides. Every few minutes, I heard movement somewhere deeper in the woods. I kept telling myself it was just the wind or small animals moving through the brush. After about 40 minutes, I found a small clearing just off the trail. I set up my tent, lit a small fire, and made myself a hot drink. I ate beside the fire in silence, listening to the trees as the sky slowly went dark. For the first time in months, I actually felt calm. Then I noticed something strange. The woods had gone completely silent. No wind, no insects, no birds, just the sound of the fire. Then somewhere behind the trees, I heard one footstep. Heavy, slow, then nothing. I turned toward the sound. I couldn't see anyone. 30 seconds later, I heard another step, this time from my left, then another, behind me. Someone was circling the campsite and moving only one step at a time. That's when I remembered what the old man said. "Whatever you hear tonight, stay in the tent." I threw dirt over the fire, grabbed my flashlight, and climbed into the tent. I zipped it shut and stayed completely still. For nearly 10 minutes, nothing happened. Then I heard footsteps slowly moving toward the tent, each step closer than the last. Then I heard breathing, slow, deep, human. Something dragged across the side of the tent, from one end to the other. Then I heard whispering outside. More than one voice. There were at least 2 people out there, maybe more. Then suddenly, a hand pressed against the side of the tent. I could see the outline of fingers through the fabric. I stayed frozen for what felt like forever. Eventually, the footsteps moved away. I waited another full minute. Then I slowly unzipped the tent and looked outside. Near the trees, I saw someone standing in the dark, too far away to see a face, just standing there, watching me. That was enough. I grabbed whatever I could and ran into the woods. Branches tore at my arms as I ran downhill through the dark. After several minutes, I found the trail again. Then I saw my car. The driver's door was open. I knew I'd locked it. The second I saw that door, I felt sick. I ran to the car, jumped inside, and locked every door immediately. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely get the key into the ignition. The second the engine started, I drove out of there without looking back. I never went camping alone again, and even now, I still replay that night in my head, trying to find one explanation that actually makes sense.